Hey, God.
The hustle and bustle, I feel like we don't even have a time to live. It's just so routine. Get up, go to work, or whatever your vice is. Get up, take care of the kids. Get up. You always just so focused on
Yeah.
the next move or what you have to do or tomorrow. It's today and you're thinking about tomorrow. You can't even breathe and take a second. And when you do, you feel like, damn, I done relaxed, slept half of the day, now I'm behind. So it's always this rat race.
Right. That's what I mean.
I think for me, what's really doing it for me is that I am trying, like you said, like trying just to compete with myself and like what's next, what's that. I think a lot of us in our 20s, because we're in our 20s, we're trying to like figure out what were we supposed to do. I should have had this by now and all of that. So I know me personally, I'm trying to get myself ready to go back to get my master's.
Yeah.
So the fact that I keep telling myself like, oh, like I should have done this like straight out of undergrad. I should have done this. I should have done that. Like it's a lot of shoulda, coulda, woulda. But the fact that, this is not something that you can just do in a snap of fingers. Like there's deadlines of when to submit your applications and enrollment and that. So it's like, if you don't make it for that year, you have to wait like the next, either the next year or the next semester, depending if it's like twice a year, once a year type of thing. So it's like, if it's a twice a year enrollment, that means for the next like 6-ish months, you're kind of like having that feeling of like, oh, like I missed it for like 6 months. So that's weighing on you.
Right.
And me personally, it's a thought that keeps coming back and back and back.
So right now you're trying to get back into school, basically.
Yeah. I originally wanted to become a psychiatrist, and then I realized that I have to go to med school, and I was like, I'm not smart enough for that.
Can't say that.
Right. For the longest, I told myself that.
Okay.
So, which again, like I try to tell myself that rejection is redirection. So like there's a reason why I never went to.
Say that again. Say it again.
Rejection is redirection.
Keep going.
Why I was never meant to be a psychiatrist for whatever reason. I'm not taking it as like, oh, like I'm beating myself up, like I should have done this, I should have done that. I want to stop with the should haves and realize why did that happen, and trying to remind myself that it's for a reason. So I'm like, there's a reason why I never went to med school and why I'd rather get my master's in social work right now, become a therapist, which is a little more hands-on in care compared to psychiatry, which is more medication from my understanding. And eventually down the line, I would love to get my PsyD in clinical psychology and become a clinical psychologist and do it that way. So it's similar to psychiatry, but also different avenue, more hands-on.
But there's a plan.
There is a plan. So it's a step-by-step. Again, this isn't something that I can do one day to the next. But again, those thoughts come back every so often of like, oh, I missed a deadline last year. I should have done this. I should have done that. I would say it has. I'm lucky enough to say that I've never been hospitalized for any, reason like that. I would say that it took a lot of, talking with friends and realizing like everybody has their own path in therapy. I've been in therapy for almost 2.5 years now. So it took a lot. It took a lot to get to this point. And I always try to tell people like, it's not something that you can fix in 20 minutes. Right. Because that's one of the things that I focus on with like my clients, that when they're going through struggles, is that, remember, is this something that you can fix in 20 minutes or is it something that's going to be fixed in 20 years? If you're going to solve it within 20 years, like it should not be in your mind for the next like 5 hours, because you can't fix it.
That's true.
It's like if you run out, like you need new batteries and the dollar store is closed. Like, am I going to be focused and crying about it for the next 2 hours if it's in the middle of the night? No, I'm going to go to bed, relax, try to find something else to do until they open back up at 9 a.m. Why keep crying all night until 9 a.m.?
Yeah, so actually the type of therapy I go to is EMDR. So what that is reprocessing your trauma. So I wouldn't say she necessarily gives me tools, but what we are doing is we're going back to when I was a child, when I was 6, 7, and we're bringing out issues that happened then that can make me who I am now, and we're breaking it down. So we're like, okay, we're going to go through the memories, we're going to go through the times, we're going to try to get it out of your mind or like literally erase it so you can be a better person. So I feel like, and that's difficult because now it's like going back into years and decades of trauma and breaking it down and talking it out. But I feel like it's necessary because people don't realize how you were raised, how you were brought up, the traumas that you went through as a child or young adult. They literally make you. So even like how you might respond to people now could be like a repercussion of how you responded when you were younger. But that's where I am with the therapy, not necessarily getting the tools, but I am, because we're working through everything.
So
You're the solution person.
So again, it took a lot to finally find what works for me and stuff like that. I noticed that I tend to do a lot better when I isolate myself when I have a really stressful moment and stuff like that. Like yesterday, I went to the beach and I cried for like 3 hours on the sand.
3 hours
Yeah.
on the sand. Oh my God.
It was bad. But again, we had a very heavy therapy session. So one of the things that, to be completely honest on this podcast, I was diagnosed bipolar 2.5 years ago. That's why I started therapy and all that. So kind of piggybacking on what you said before of just like your way of thinking. Like I have for the past like 2 years, I've been trying to really figure out why my therapist keeps saying like you're very rigid with your thinking. You're very black or white. And we're trying to really focus on gray. She's like, not everything is a this or a that. And I feel like for me growing up, and again, also tying into what you're saying with parents, my mom was very like, figure it out. Whatever, like you're figure it out. Like I'm not here to help you. And especially because I was the first one born in this country. Like, my mom immigrated here when she was 22. She had me at 24. So she didn't really know the country like that. She didn't really know the language. I am an only child. She's the first out of 4 siblings. So she's the first one. I'm the first grandchild. I'm the first girl. So naturally, I feel like girls always get all the responsibilities compared to boys. So all my younger cousins, I raised 8 different, cousins at different age ranges still to this day.
You had to hold
boys.
You had to hold it down.
And that's all me. Still to this day, my other cousin who's 22, I have a 24, 22, and a 17-year-old cousin, but they're not the ones getting called, hey, can you fill out this form? Can you translate this for this? I have to do it. In the middle of the night, something's going on. Hey, they'll call my mom. Hey, is Nada available for X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, they could have Googled that on their own. So it still keeps coming to me. All that responsibility is me. So I've noticed that I need to just walk away from it.
Have you though? Because I remember last time you came to visit and we were sitting outside, probably like our conversation was normally like 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
We was outside, we were talking, he was like, I had to do this, I had to go here, I had to get my father, I had to bring him here, I had to make sure he had this. And I said,
Yeah.
when are you just gonna get up, turn around, and just walk away?
Yeah, I've been learning how to say no. And I think, again, also tying into with anxiety,
Sorry,
I
you
feel
can
like
say
for
no,
me,
but,
say no. I just say no. I tend to not say no because I feel like I am very understanding in my family situation because of the language barrier. And I had a situation where I had a younger cousin being very, very rebellious. So we had to deal a lot with like running away and the police and social workers and stuff like that.
Remember.
So being in the field, being with runaway kids and, at-risk youth and all of that, I know what to say. I know what to do. I know my family members tend to freeze. And I feel like regardless of the language, regardless of the age, there's always 2 type of people, the one that rise above and the one that just kind of freeze and kind of need that help.
Right.
So I feel like it's even more being in this country, you don't know the language, you don't know what's going on, you don't know what the resources are, they tend to just freeze up. I know the resources, I know who to call, I know to do this, so I know that they have to rely on me, and I wouldn't expect them to know that on their own or rise to the occasion. If we were in a different country where they knew the resources, they grew up there, they work there, I would 100% be like, why? You're just
But when is
lazy.
it their time to just pick it up though and just, okay, now I've done enough. Can you go ahead?
Yeah, recently I definitely have been saying no, and I've been basically a bitch towards them and just saying like, no, like I'm tired of this. I've bugged out on them a couple times and I'm just like, and I try to do it nicely because I
But
don't
that's
want to be
okay to put your foot down.
disrespectful. Yeah. So that was like, for example, like I had to fill out, it was literally 7 questions and the application was in Spanish. My aunt gave it to me and she's like, can you fill it out? I was like, did you read it? She said, no. I said, okay, you can read it. I was like, grab a pen. We're going to do it together.
Yeah.
And then she's like, what? And I was just like, yeah, come on, let's sit down. So I was like, name. And I was, again, trying to be a bitch about it to just kind of emphasize that, like, how ridiculous you sound right now. So I'm like, name. I was like, okay, so it's going to be your name. Birth date. I was like, okay, yeah, your birthday. Oh, yeah, it's not my birthday. It's going to be your birthday. And she's like looking at me. And then I knew like I was kind of being condescending, whatever.
But she's
Like at the
doing that
same
'cause
time, it's
she's
just like,
getting
hey, it's
used
just
to
to
it.
emphasize the fact that,
Yeah.
listen, you literally could have filled this out. I
Yeah.
didn't have to be here right now.
That you
So
see.
there's a lot of things that I've noticed that my mom even calls me. She goes like, oh, your aunt's struggling right now. She said she couldn't do X, Y, and Z. And I said, oh, and a part of me really wanted to say, why didn't you just call me? Because I feel like also a part of me is just like when I see someone struggle and I don't have the patience for it, that I was just like, just give it to me, I'll do it. That I'm like, this is why they rely on me.
Yeah.
So a part of me was so ready to say, why didn't she just call me? That I'm like, okay, well, you know, she could do X, Y, and Z. And my mom was just like, yeah, I told her she could do that too. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I just walked away. So I've noticed that my family, my mom will like relay to me. She's like, oh, like your grandma did this, your aunt did that, your uncle did this. And like, yeah, they struggled, but they're going to try again tomorrow because they didn't fix it. I'm like, good for them. And I just walk away.
I don't have anybody that I have to baby because I feel like I need to baby myself and my mental health enough. So I feel like if I ever have to get to a point where I have to baby you, that block list is strong. Like we might have a conversation about it and then I'm blocking you.
What?
Do it as well.
Yeah,
Like,
but I
I'll
feel
block
like
people and unblock them and then block them back as I so choose. Because I feel like
Right.
I feel like in the moment if I block you and I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to see. I don't want a communication at all. I don't even want you to be able to. Like I don't want to see your message. I don't want to see your call.
Yeah.
Stay on that side. And then if I so do choose, okay, I'm gonna unblock you because I want to talk to you, and I know it may seem like a game, but it's not because I have to protect my mental health. If I blocked you, that means you did something to me where I felt like not violated, but like offended. Me to react one way and then get upset when I react that way. You can't control my reaction to your actions. You cannot control my reaction to your actions.
Right. So
Oh, it's been stressful as ever. And I don't feel like it's gonna stop being stressful. I feel like the thing with mental health is you just have to find your vice and your outlet to manage it. Even when things are on the mountaintop, you're still going to be dealing with some type of issue, whether it be mental health or not. So I'm still sliding down the living room wall, trying to figure out how I'm going to pay these bills every month. That's just so crazy that people think, and that's why I hate the society we live in. People see you with what you have and think, oh, she got it made. Oh, she got a house. Oh, I'm more depressed now that I have a house than I was when I was living in my mama's house.
yeah,
When I was
feel
at
you.
home, I was chilling, coming in and out as I please. Another big thing is I have my family there. I live alone. I walk in the house every night. It's just me. I wake up. It's just me. And I'm not even talking about a spouse. At least when I was living at my mother's house, I had my niece. I had my brother. I had my sister-in-law. So it's like I had people around me. I had environment. I had community.
Yeah.
It's just me. In the four walls of the house. I go upstairs, it's me. I go
I'll be
downstairs,
going fucking crazy.
it's me. I'm in the
There's
living
no
room,
way.
it's me. I'm cooking in the kitchen, it's just me. I go to the backyard, it's me. Like at this point, I'm about to run a person. Like,
Here's the thing. I feel like with dating, it is very hard because not a lot of people understand that there comes responsibilities, especially in my position. I've had that pop up a lot when people would be like, do you want to do X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, hey, like I'm busy. Like I have to pick up my mom this day or that day. And they're like, why? And I'm like, you just don't get it. But like, you don't have to. Like, you're 20 something years old. Why does it matter? And I feel like, especially being Hispanic and all that, we prioritize family more than anything. And my mom has always, which being, again, growing up here in this country and in these times, especially like, you know, this day and age compared to like the 70s, 80s, family I feel like isn't really as prioritized as it is compared to my Hispanic side. So my mom would always say, she would joke around and she would say, when you're gonna get married, tell your husband that when you buy a house, you need a separate room for your mother because I'm moving in with you. Because that's just the tradition, is that your parents took care of you when you were young. Now you have to pay it back to them. And I try to tell her all the time, you are not guaranteed a spot in my house. And if anything, you're not coming with me. I will pay a separate mortgage for you to live next to me. You're not living in the same house with me. But I mean, like, obviously, like, I love my mom. Like, if anything were to happen, like, I would gladly take my mom in. And I feel like that's something that I make it very, very firm with whoever I'm dating, of like, listen, like, I come with my family. Like, I come with this, I come with that. You don't have to like it. You don't have to accept it, but you need to respect it if that's the case. So if you are willing to put up with it, great. If not, step to the side, someone else will. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things that I've learned to realize when dating is that I have to be selfish with things that I need to feel great about myself with. So like if I again with like my family, like for example, my mom takes ESL classes twice a week. So Mondays and Wednesdays from I have to drop her off because she doesn't drive. She was in a really bad car accident when she was 16, so she's been traumatized since then. So I have to drive her 6:30 from I get home at 6 from work. At 6 I have to drive her to take her there at 6:30. I have to pick her up at 9:30 twice a week. So I can't go out those 2 days.
Right.
Those other 2 days, she some Mondays, so it's Mondays and Wednesdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Sometimes she has physical therapy and stuff like that. I have to pick her up. Same thing. Remember I had a guy try to take me out. He's like, "What about this day?" And I'm like, "I have something to do that day." "What about that day?" "My mom has physical therapy." "What about this day?" "My mom has school that day." They're like, "Do you have your mom just figure it out?" And I said, "Okay, bye." Because that's just because who am I to ever implement that same mindset on someone else? It's just like, hey, my grandma needs me to take her to the doctor. Call her an Uber. Have her figure it out. Who am I to say all of that? If that's what you need to do, if it's the same thing, if take that out and replace it with, oh, I do yoga in the morning, so I can't call you in the morning. Okay, if that's what you need, great. If it doesn't fit in with me, we are not compatible. If it fits in, great. Because I've noticed that with my stepfather, my mom would say, "Oh, I will go grocery shopping," and then she'll be like, "Oh," she'll put something to the side, and he's like, "Why are you putting that to the side?" And she'll be like, "Oh, well, this is for my mom. I'll put it separately for my bill. I'll pay for it." And my stepdad would be like, "I'll pay for it. Put it back with our regular groceries." So he also extends a hand to my mom's side of the family. Unfortunately, my stepfather's both of his parents have passed, so he doesn't really have that like need to take care of his parents. But when he was there, my mom did the same thing. They extended a hand to both sides of the family. So seeing that, I'm like, someone's gonna do it. Someone's going to be okay with me saying I can't go out on Friday. I have to take my mom somewhere. I can't go out on Sunday because my mom needs me to do this X, Y, and Z. So what I do with my time is mine. If the time that's left over, I will make it for you. But if you want to take my mom's time slot, now we got a problem. Because I have more time. And you want that time. And what my mom always, again, because we're really big on family, one of the things that she always said to me is that, because I used to see it with her and my father when they were still together, is that she would always say, "I was a daughter before I was your wife." So, and especially because, our parents aren't there the entirety of our lives, if we make it that long, but I always tell myself, if this isn't going to last forever, I'm going to be 50, 60, 70 years old, and I'm going to wish I was able to still take my mom to the doctor if it means seeing my mom one last time. So then it's going to get to the point where whoever my partner is, they're going to know this isn't going to last forever. And then I'm going to live with the regret of like, oh, instead of taking my mom to the doctor or taking her to go grocery shopping or do something, I left her high and dry to go out with this man to go to the movies. Probably maybe it didn't last with that guy or whatever it is, but like for me personally, I would sit with that regret of like, I would do anything to just have one last trip with her to the doctor, then go to this movie. Movies are going to come and go with this man, whatever. And you could say vice versa, the same thing. That man's not going to be there forever. But again, my mom was there from the day I was born. Family is there till your day you're born,
Exactly.
So I prioritize my family in that aspect, and you like it. If you don't, you don't.
1, 2, 3.
Funerals.
Literally. And then check up on your people. Like,
challenge you on that.
please.
I feel like there's a lot of people out there that will do it just because, like, again, like, because like you just said, check up on people, so they'll run with it for like maybe a month. And then just never do it again. I think it just takes a certain level of person and amount of care to constantly do it.
Watch it now, but honestly, people are watching to be nosy.
True.
Some people don't even genuinely care. People are watching because they're waiting for your downfall. She quit. She had that government job. She quit to do social media. She dumb. Look at her. She gonna be in 2 months. She gonna be talking about, well, guys, I went back to my government job and they were like, see, so you have to be careful with that. Even the checkups, even if family did reach out, that don't mean it's genuine.
You true.
They
Yeah, I
probably
don't want no
waiting
fake
for
shit.
you
I'm
to
sorry.
crack and spill all your beans so now they could be, oh, see, she done went and moved in that apartment and she done got that car and now she's struggling. She got this mental break. She better suck it up and go back to work. So, and that in itself is a whole nother level of mental health. People don't understand. I literally just told my therapist today, sometimes I don't even want to tell people my business because I don't want anybody to pity me. I don't want people to feel bad. I feel like everybody is going through. So who am I to be like, oh, I'm crying, I'm broken, help me. And it's like, I don't know what you're going through. You could have just cried 10 minutes before I called you to cry. And it's like, so it's just sad that with their mental health, we don't even have a happy medium. Certain people, like, not trying to be funny, but Nada and I work in the mental health field. Sometimes I'm scared not even to say too much because people in our field are mandated reporters. So I can tell somebody I'm depressed or I'm suicidal, and next thing you know, I don't have a job because somebody called the state and reported it. So it's like such a fine line within mental health, and that's why certain people go crazy. Certain people literally drive themselves insane where now they're sitting screaming and you're like, she used to be so nice and pretty, what happened? She literally went crazy in her brain. The thoughts had nowhere to go and she just lost it.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is sometimes.
Yeah. That is so true.
I would say that, like, my piece of advice for you on that aspect, I feel like I was also kind of on that boat of like, I'm here to like help everyone and nobody here to help me type of thing, is that I would say focus on who does reach out and who does put in that extra step to like for you and all of that. So I know it's hard to say like, oh, like I have like, I think of like like if I were to ask you like, who do you really care if they had some like mental breakdown, like who would you like stop what you're doing and run to them and be like, what do you need, X, Y, and Z? You could name me 20 people, but if you were to have one right now, and of those 20 people, who would show up for you?
Right.
And I feel like, let's just say the answer is 3. I would say put your energy in those 3 then.
Right.
More than anything. But I feel like it's just one of those things that, which is maybe a little bit harsh to say, but I feel like I've always kind of kept that in the back of my mind. I think it's helped me get to the point where I am, is that I always tell myself life goes on with or without you. And you just got to buckle down and just go for it. And especially with like the work that we do, like we don't have time to sit here and pity party. So I do definitely relate to that part of like, I don't have time for me because I have to worry about the clients that I have or this type of job or what I look like. How is this going to affect my future and all of that? So it doesn't really have anywhere to go.
Right.
But when I do finally have somewhere to go, I prioritize where is it going? Is it the 2 people that's going to pick up the phone call, or am I going to make a video and express myself and hope who views it, who reaches out, be like, hey, that kind of stuck with me with what you said. Like, how are you? Like, can we have a separate conversation on that? Do you need me for anything? But some people will, some people won't. But definitely it's all of us. We need to definitely prioritize what we need for ourselves and who is there for us. Period.
Well, we don't have any more advice to give y'all because every day is like a journey for me. So I got to a point where I lashed out a lot on Instagram and wherever else, and then notice what's for me, what's not for me, who's for me, where I don't want to be. And then I'm really loving this new journey that I'm taking so I can have more time for me, more time to create, more time to vlog, more time to relate. Because I feel like, others, if they don't have a session, a therapist, or have somebody to go to, it's like I do like to be that person that can, help somebody else relate or bring others to the podcast so they can hear, well, you don't need somebody to, reach out. As long as whoever you have in your circle is for you and you have the same energy bouncing off, or I have a mental health position, but I have to still focus there. I can't put too much here. You're not the only one with the mental health position that others have to also restrain. So like sometimes like it's a fresh air, breath air, however I'm saying it, that others know like, dang, she feels the same way. It's the same thing. I'm not going crazy. A lot of people like to feel that they're not going crazy.
Yeah.
Like, so that's just another thing. It's a great 3 different perspectives on that.
There's a video out on YouTube that my therapist showed me. I can't remember the creator's name, but there's a lot of good videos on it that will simplify it so much that I know for the longest I felt like, why is everybody happy and I'm not? Especially with like being bipolar, there's days where there's good and there's like the end of the world, it feels like. That I tell myself, like, why is everybody getting everything that I don't have? Like, why do they have the happy family? I don't. Why do they have the house and I don't? Why do they have this and I don't? And she showed me this video of the, I think it's like seven truths or something like that, and it goes off about how we expect the average person to just wake up happy every day, and that's not true. That not you're not supposed, not that you're not supposed to be happy every day, but like that's not supposed to be your baseline of happy. I was like, why do I wake up already sad and I stay there for days and weeks and everybody else is happy? But it's just like, not everybody wakes up happy. Yeah. And I think trying to compare myself in that aspect was really what hurt me for a while. So I think that's something that everybody needs to remember, is that not everybody's happy.
That's why I said a lot of people put up a facade, like even social media, even day-to-day life. Like I said in another episode I did, I was like, the person walking around with that nice suit and that Tesla, he probably has nothing, and trying to figure out how this is still going to maintain the next week or the next month. Like literally, that's why I call it just winging it, because it's just like all of us, a lot of us may have a plan or a schedule, but we're still just winging it in a mindset. We still have either a plan A, plan B, but we're still just winging it. Unless you're like that movie Free Guy, they wake up, everything is scheduled. He was happy. He went to the bank. He's here. It's just set. This was everyday life until something broke the cycle. And he was happy as hell. He was able to have emotions. He was able to say no. He was able to say yes. And it was just like, but you're still just swinging it in a mindset of not everybody is okay. Like, not everybody has it all together. We're all just figuring it out. But I do want to thank you two ladies for coming on the podcast episode today. This was great. Great to have you back. Great to have you here. We got to get more of these in different scenarios and everything. But appreciate you guys and wingers and wingettes. So make sure y'all catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube for the visual. And we are out of here.